My first run with the road bike completed this year. When I left, it was absolutely beautiful, pristine weather. Sun was out, a couple of clouds in the sky, but as soon as I left, a hailstorm hit me. Oh. How unpleasant was that? And then if you look at the bike here, I only have that small flap at the back. But if you look at the bike, it's all, what do you call it, covered in mud. Because none of the sand from last winter has been properly cleaned. So whenever it rains, it just throws up all this mud onto you. But riding that bike, it's a pleasure compared to the cyclocrosser. It's at par on all situations, but sometimes when you climb up a hill, you're thinking mentally that this should be a lot harder. It shouldn't go this easy. Even with the hailstorm, and I have first-hand knowledge now that hails, they were fairly small. They were size of a BB gun pellet, but when they flick you in the face, it's painful. Only did about 20 kilometers or so, but one run, it got me over my, let's see, daily limit. There, 104. Yeah. So I hadn't done anything this morning. And then today it is Finland versus USA ice hockey World Championships finals for under 18. And yeah, it's always funny to watch young boys play. It's, how do I say? It's not as systematic as it sometimes is with the men. They make funny errors and situations occur out of, thin air. So it's just not so systematic. This I need to mention. Before I left to the thing, I got the medical doctor of whole of Vantaa, which is the city I live in. I got the person's email address who had decided, let's give the kids HPV vaccinations. And I've been reading about all sorts of medical stuff now that I have MS. And I have come to the very strong conclusion that medical companies are only out for themselves, not for patients. The only thing they're kind of they're acting as a normal corporation would. The only thing that matters for them is the shareholder benefit. Period. And they'll do anything to produce that benefit. So there's no point in coming up with a vaccination that would, or a medicine that would actually cure MS. There's no point in it if you think of it purely from a monetary perspective. You'd be stupid to invent something. Think of it, they're getting tens of thousands of euros a year per patient every single year. Steady revenue coming in. And then somebody, I got this pill here. We know how to cure this disease. It will remyelinate all of our nervous system in a matter of 24 hours and it will be the end of MS. I absolutely guarantee that not a single medical company would come up and say, yeah, let's put this out to market. They would be stupid to do it. Yeah, well, sorry, now I got sidetracked, as I always do. I was talking about Vantaa, my city I live in. I got the head doctor or ylilääkäri, chief of staff medicine. I don't know what it's called in English. But basically, a hospital always has, there's a group of doctors and then there's one doctor who's kind of the boss of all doctors. Well, this is the boss of all doctors in Vantaa. On the public side. And I wrote her a fairly, well, not aggressive, but kind of, who does take responsibility if this vaccination damages my kid? Is it going to be you making the decision or me? Because what they're saying is that a kid that age, they have the right to do their own medical decisions. And the parents, basically, it doesn't compute. They don't care. The kid gets to decide what they do with themselves. And then I put the question to them, okay, fine. You have now come to this conclusion, but who is it that actually takes responsibility if something goes wrong? Is it going to be you, or is it going to be me as a parent taking care of a potentially fatally damaged kid? And we all know what the answer for that is. I wrote this letter and I CC'd my wife and I CC'd my daughter, who she already had one of these vaccinations, because the tactic they pulled is that you might get cancer. Then you might not, you'll get a hysterectomy if you don't take this vaccination, which is completely amoral for a kid. They have no capacity of doing decisions like that. So then I wrote her and discussed about that, and I CC'd my daughter and my wife, and then I CC'd the entire city council, or whatever you call it, kaupungin hallitus, the whole board of the city, CC'd all of them, starting from the chairman to all of the varajäsen, the spare candidates, or whatever you call them, but all in CC. And then I said that Päivi, her name is Päivi, I said, Päivi, kysynkin sinulta nyt päätöksentekijänä. I'm asking you as the decision maker, where does the buck stop? And how do you guarantee that my kid gets balanced views on both the sides, the pros and the cons, instead of just hearing from the medical companies and the people in their pockets? That aggravates me slightly as a parent. They're not supposed to do stuff like that. I actually had one fight over this, or on the same subject, I mean. Rebecca went to, my eldest, there's a place called Lasertilkka upon Mannerheimin tie. It used to be an army hospital, Tilkka. I sometimes, if I was, how would I say, less inclined to participate in patriotic activities, I would, there's a rule in the army, at least in the Finnish army, that you need to, when you're on leave, you need to check in at 12 o'clock at night, the night that your leave ends. If you're a minute late, you get penalized, and it's horrible. So, what we would do, especially if we had friends or girlfriends or stuff like that, we had stuff to do. And because my post was up in Hämeenlinna, or where I started my army, I think it was 3-4 months. It was up in Hämeenlinna. But anyway, then we discovered that Tilkka, it's in Helsinki. It takes me about half an hour to get to Tilkka, whereas it takes me 3 hours to get to Hämeenlinna. So what you would do, you would spend a nice weekend, and then Sunday come 11 o'clock at night, you take a beeline to Tilkka and say, I'm not feeling well. I feel a fever coming on. And then you checked in, you stayed the night, and then you spent the next day, you travel to your unit, and then you do your week of whatever exercises and stuff like that, and then you'd potentially get home 3 weeks, a month from that vacation, or however often they have these holidays. I think nowadays they have them every single weekend. Whatever, it's turned into a kindergarten. You're supposed to be in the army, you go there, you check in, you change your civilian clothes, and you go into the forest, and you don't have a shower, and you're just in a tent for 4 weeks, shooting and, petsata, just making a mess of yourself in the forest. Rebecca, she had this mold on her collar, and she went to have it checked out whether it was benign or not, and they then said to her, we can take it off easily. And are you all right with that? And Rebecca obviously said, yeah, why not? And they cut it off and sent her on her merry ways. The only problem with that was that a €400 bill came in my mailbox a week from that. I called them, what's this? Why are you sending me this? And they said, they went into this exact same spiel about your daughter has the right to decide for her own what her medical treatment is. I was like, fine, let her decide. But be certain that she's not going to do it on my buck. It would be the same thing if I would send my daughter to a Ferrari shop, or she would go into a Ferrari shop and take out a car and just drive it away and then say that my daddy's going to pay. Of course I'm not going to pay. And then again they sent me, I had to talk to all of their, ylilääkäri, or osastonhoitaja was the first one. So it was the nurse of the ward, and then it was the medical guy. Oh man, I ripped into them. Oh, I let go. But the good thing about that was that I never got a bill from them. But this is what annoys me. That people think that they can do anything like that. But the problem with this is, with this vaccination thing, they're halfway covered by law. Who idiot made that kind of a law? Saying that, yeah, go ahead. You can decide on your medical. And then the medical companies use this as an excuse to do all sorts of ridiculous things to the kids and accept the parents to pay. This was supposed to be a short entry about my first cycle run on the road bike this year, but it turned into a rant about greedy, big pharma ripping us off. Think about this HPV vaccination. It cost taxpayers up 200 euros a pop, and they do it 3 times. Sophia has now taken it once, and we went slightly ballistic with the wife, and now we're hoping that the 2 last ones will not be taken, because first of all, I don't want to give medical companies my the 2 vaccinations, the 400 euros, because it's poisonous. Plus, it's no good. Speak to you later. Now, the email that I sent, that I spoke of, I got a response from Anita Orpana. Apparently she's been, at one point in her life, she's been a member of parliament. I don't know what that says. Eduskunta. And she replied to me, I am in shock about this news. Now we have gone too far in this vaccination hysteria. I don't know how old your daughter is, but this seems very weird. Myself, I don't take even the flu shot because they have side effects. I will take this up with the deputy Mayor Jukka T. Salminen. Thank you for the information. Best regards, Anita Orpana. So, maybe my email caused a reaction, that somebody's doing something. I already replied to her and said that, yeah, my daughter Sofia actually came home. She was fearing cancer. After this HPV thing that they had, she was fearing cancer, hysterectomy, and and being barren, childless. This is a 12-year-old kid, and this is what they're talking to her. What capacity have they to receive any of this information, or even process it in any reason? They're just, yeah, put this stuff into my arm. But anyway, Jesus Christ is our Lord.